Good evening and welcome to On the Couch with Sharita. I am Sharita, your host. Thank you for joining me tonight here on Hindsight Media Radio 103.5 FM. Tonight, I think it's going to be a pretty good night. This week has actually been pretty good. And I hope you've had a pretty good week thus far. But, first and foremost, as always, we give honor to God for everything that He's done this week, what He's getting ready to do, what He's doing in our lives, and just thanking Him for having a hand in every situation that we go through and bringing us out of the trenches. I want to check in with you just for a minute, just to see how your day was, how your week has been. It's Friday Eve. This is the part where you get to shake it all off, where you get to say, okay, let me just have my woosah moment here. Because you've done a lot. You've worked hard. The weekend's coming up. Hopefully you get to play hard as well. During these episodes, toward the end, honestly, you get little nuggets or homework to do. And it's intentional that I do that. The hope is that you get something out of what you hear and that you're engaging in the conversations, of course, with yourself or with other people, that something resonates with you, but that you're actually doing the homework. And it's really for yourself. Like I tell my clients, the homework is here for you. The worksheets is, these things are here for you. The articles, they're here for you. I get clients who may say, well, I didn't get a chance to do the homework or I didn't finish. Well, it's not about finishing. It's getting started, you know, but it's not about finishing the homework in as much as it's about allowing the homework to be used to set you up for success so you can have some tools and a foundation that's being laid for you. So I hope that you're taking the homework and that you're of course doing something with it as you go, that you're finding it meaningful and useful. This has been I don't want to say a heavy week, but there's been a running theme that has come across me time after time after time during this week in dealing with my clients and helping them with some of their issues and things that they're going through. And the running theme that's been the thing has been people are just wanting to, I don't want to necessarily say give up, but they feel like kind of giving up on maybe the goal that they're trying to reach, or maybe there's something that's going on in their life and they're like, you know what, I'm not even sure if I can continue to do this anymore, or I just feel so down in the dumps, or life is just coming at me and it's getting relatively hard, like I don't know what to do with this thing, or how to even keep moving or to keep rolling. And I've kind of had my moments myself, especially in my own weight loss journey. And it's kind of like, I'm just going to eat what I want and not have to deal with it. I mean, why not? But then I think I want to be here for my kids. I just want to be healthy. It's not about being, you know, what I say a skinny mini. I mean, I appreciate the thickness of my body and, I like the contours. I enjoy and I love how I look. But just like with everybody, there's always something that we feel like we may want to change, and I get that no matter what size you are, whatever that looks like. Everybody who has a body is beautiful and you're beautiful in your own way. But exercising, weight loss, is hard, and I try to look at it as a lifestyle change and not necessarily have to go on this diet. I used to look at it that way, but now I'm making this lifestyle change. And what keeps me motivated is my son. Um, he's taken this journey with me, and he's just my constant reminder. Hey mom, we got to do this. Hey mom, we when are we going for a walk? What are we doing today? And he keeps me motivated, which makes me responsible and accountable for him, you know. And I look at it as, well, if I'm self-sabotaging, I'm setting him up for failure, you know. And scripture tells us, as I'm saying this to you, to be careful about what we do, especially as believers, as Christians, because, there are people whose faith may not be as strong, and we may have a strong faith, and those people may look at us because we're stronger in our faith. And if, you know, we're practicing being lukewarm, the person who's looking up to us is probably going to fall within that trap too, because they're modeling behind us. And so we have to be careful how we lead, because the people that are following us are going to follow us, and they're going to do as we do because they think it's okay. So just kind of saying all that to say, even in our journey together, I'm careful to make sure that whatever the plan is the plan. If he says nope, today is not our cheat meal day, then I'm like, okay, I'm focused. It has helped me to save a lot of money, because we tend to kind of eat out a lot, not a whole lot, but we eat out enough. But I am cooking a lot more now. It gets a little bit hard sometimes because, between working and having to pick up kids and doing other stuff, it's just a lot easier to pick something up. But I don't know, within the last 2 weeks now, maybe, I think I have cooked every day this week. Saturdays are the only days now that I don't cook. I used to not cook on Fridays, which means we ate out Friday and we would eat out Saturday. Sometimes we would eat out Sunday. There may be a middle of the week in there someplace, but now we cook, and it's great. It's great to be able to cook the meal. Now, sometimes I find myself cooking 2 and 3 meals for people who don't want to eat the same thing, and I'm okay with that. I love to cook. If everybody in the house wanted something different, I'm doing it. I enjoy it, and that's okay. But it's just, it's one of those things. So it, in saying that, just kind of again keeps me motivated and keeps me from not giving up. But there are certain things that I may be going through, certain stresses or whatever, and I may feel like just not doing it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to lay this down. So that's been kind of like the running theme for me for the week. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like, what is going on this week that is just causing everybody to just want to this must be a very heavy week, which is one of the reasons why, in my therapy, I try to add in scripture, some biblical principles, because if we don't have a steady foundation as it relates to God, then we don't have anything to stand on, and we need something to stand on. We can't, well, we shouldn't go throughout our lives not having a firm foundation, and all of that is set up in God and with God. I mean, I'm just a believer. I'm a firm believer. And where I can spread his word and be that person, I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to give you something that helps you, give you a word that's going to help strengthen you and keep you motivated throughout the week. But that has kind of been the thing. So of course they say when life hands you lemons, I mean, what do? You make lemonade. But you know in talking with one of my clients, it has the question that has come up within the conversation. It's kind of like, okay, once I've tried everything, what do I do when all else fails? Well, my response to her or to this person or to my clients, men, you know, because you guys face a lot of that too, um, is dig in. And I'll talk, more about, what I mean when I say that. But we dig in. Um, Life is tough. It's full of stressors, full of triggers. We got trauma that we're dealing with. I have clients who just feel like, okay, this trauma, this thing, whatever this is, I'm not sure if I can deal with it anymore. I'm not even sure if I want to deal with it anymore. It's, you got to dig in. People who are dealing with divorce, I just don't know what I'm going to do. How do I live now? What happens? You know, People who are on their personal journeys. What do I do? How do I deal with this? What happens now? The digging in is the thing that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to dig in. We're supposed to take life by the horns, I guess. Plant your feet firmly on the ground. I ran across a TikTok where there was 100 kids on one. It was tug of war, but they were on one end of the rope, and then there were like 10 big men, like strong men, competition type men. Like these were some big guys, and they were on the other side of the rope. Having to put my cat out. She likes to come in and sit and entertain me when I'm downstairs. Um, but there were 10 men on the other side of the rope. And so in this tug of war, and they're pulling the kids. I mean, these kids, I don't know what their parents are feeding them, but against 10 of these big guys, like they were pulling this rope. Like you could tell in their faces, there was this determination. Now, of course, there's kind of fear and concern and the anxiety, and they carried all of that. But there was this determination. And I watched them and I watched their feet. I watched them. They were going at it. And you had the men on the other side who were pulling. Like, again, these are some big guys. Like they were getting it. They were doing their thing. And the struggle that these guys were like, hey, I'm concerned because these kids, like they're about to pull us over this line. Like we can't let them do it. But I saw the kids as they were pulling, like there was a goal in mind. Now, the kids for me, as I was watching this, represented the person people, yes, could be you, could be me, you know, and pulling of the rope. That rope can be just dealing with parenting, the obstacles of parenting, things that are going on maybe on your job, my job, you know, everyday life, could be your marriage, could be, I don't know, maybe there's someone in your life who has an addiction. Maybe you have an addiction and you're trying to help them fight, or you're fighting your own. Your rope could represent your trauma, your divorce, whatever that is. It's whatever it is, your life, that's your rope. And we're constantly in this tug of war. The men, for me, represented the problems. It represented something, whatever that was on the other side, that would be pulling you. Could be the idea of giving up, could be the symptom of depression, it could be the symptom of anxiety, it could be, I don't know, all the problems combined, but they represented the not so good, you know. Now, I don't know exactly, of course, in this competition, what anybody got as a prize, if they won, or what the consequence was, but I was just so locked in on these kids and the determination that they had. Um, and it's funny because in watching them, again, they had a goal in mind. There was just something inside of them that said, I've got to win this. I've got to do this. You know, it, whatever my situation is pulling me. It's pulling me. It's trying to pull me across, but I can't let it win. And the things, the worries, the concerns, the problems, whatever that is on the other side, you know, the symptoms, the tears, the laying in bed, I, whatever that is. I don't know. For some reason, those guys, it was the look of, I'm going to defeat you. Like, I see you and I see you trying to win. Like, it's like I wouldn't call it determination. I don't know what it was, but it was a different look. It was a different look, and it had a different feel to it. But the kids had their feet firmly planted on the ground. And that's what we have to do. I want to get into some things about what you do when you feel like life has just handed you some lemons. You know, when trauma is turning into this thing that you just can't get over, when grief is turning into this thing that you can't get over, you know, when all else fails, you got to dig in. My acting coach, Carl Gilliard, if you're ever looking for acting lessons, Carl Gilliard's media, TV, acting class is a great place to uh, get some acting skills under your feet. Look him up, Google him, get into a class if you're interested. But, you know, he always tells us, and I haven't gone to class in a minute, but I've been a little bit busy, but I try to stay active in our group chat. But he always tells us to keep going, to not give up, because you're one day closer to locking in that role, that gig, or whatever that is, you know, no matter what, you know, because in this game, in this acting game, I mean, you can be in it for years, and maybe on your fifth or sixth year of being, you know, you may land that one big thing, but just don't give up. You gotta keep going. You gotta plant your feet firmly on the ground. Keep going. Don't give up. Just keep moving. You got to, you know, otherwise, everything that's on the other side, it wins. And just like those kids, they were determined, like they were really determined to not let those big guys defeat them. That rope that they were pulling for them meant something. It represented something. It was something. Like I can't let, you know, whatever this is have the pain, because this is how I'm going to heal. I can't, you know, give in to the trauma. I got to learn how to heal from it. You know, it's those things. And so just, keep your feet planted, you know, don't give up, he would say. Just keep going, keep grinding, because this is your thing. This is, you have a goal in mind. This is what you came to do. So keep going and keep doing it. But as this question came up amongst, other things, what do I do when I can't go on anymore? I feel like I'm failing. What's happening? So I kind of want to take a little bit of a deep dive here, if I can, and talking about this today, because I think that we all go through it. I know we do. And sometimes some of us, if not all of us, we feel like giving up. Some of us may have given up, but you don't have to. You don't have to. So let's kind of, I don't know, in diving into it. Um, but when it feels like everything has failed, I've tried in this marriage, I've tried in this relationship, I've tried, trying to get rid of this addiction. I've tried to heal from this trauma. I've tried to do this, my job. I've tried to do, like, when you feel like everything else is failed, even when it comes to your spiritual walk, your faith walk with God, and you struggle with these things, you're struggling with life, you know, I'm learning that the reason why we struggle with what we struggle with, the reason why we do that is because of our inability to give it up, because it has become a crutch for us. It's the thing that we've been just surviving off of, and it's been draining us. It's I look at it as, if any of you are Marvel fans, Thor's Love and Thunder, um, where Jane has the hammer, and well, she has cancer, and she's dying, and so she goes and to Asgard, or what is now Asgard now, and or yeah, and she finds this hammer. She finds Thor's hammer, and it's calling her, it's pulling her. She gets the hammer, and all the while she's using it, she's surviving. I mean, it gives her the strength and the energy that she needs, but it's also draining the life out of her too. And when we choose to just survive, the things that we're just surviving off of are the very things that are draining us as well. And so instead of just learning how to survive, why not just learn how to live? So when life does hand you lemons, don't just survive, live. There's this thing that's called, determination and will, and being, empowered. We've got to learn how to take whatever life has given us, we adjust to it, but we learn how to live. And we do it in a way that allows us to grow and be mentally and emotionally sound and healthy, whatever that looks like. We take a pause, we take a reset, we reach out, we talk to people. We're living, we're not just surviving the day. It's not enough. I'm just in survival mode. What does that mean? You can't always be in survival mode. You've got to find a way to have some self fulfillment. So, I ask again, when everything else has failed, what do you do? Well, some things that you can do is take a pause. Sometimes the only right move is to stop trying to just fix things. I mean, again, we're just in this thing where I'm just surviving. I just need to survive. You know, rightly, I hear the saying too, just I just need to get through today. Okay, just okay. Well, what do you do when you get through today? You got to find a way to resolve. You got to come up with a solution because that problem's going to come right back up again. What do you do? But I get it. Sometimes the only right move is to just stop. Just take a pause. Stop trying to fix it. You know, we got to take a step back. We got to reset. We got to breathe. You know, take some small steps. Go outside, go for a walk. But just stop. When we get into a survival, we're not wrong. You're not a failure. It can be seen as an act of courage because right now the whole tray has just fallen. But that's why we take the pause. That's why we take the step back. Let me just stop. Let me just take a breath. Let me sit this one out for a second. That's going to allow you to be in this space where you've just kind of shut down, where you've had the reset, so you can think about what next steps are for yourself. Talking to someone is another thing, you know. Call a friend or go to therapy, you know. Um, People that I know, as we're having these sidebar conversations from day to day, are saying, you know what, Shrita, I've decided to go back to therapy because I realized that I just can't do this by myself. Like it has become very heavy, you know. I've got to be able to do something that's going to work because stuff gets real. This is real life. As a therapist, I don't have it all together even. So I go through my own stuff. The days get hard. Have I done everything that I needed to do in the day? Have I practiced being the person that I need to be? Have I given it my all? You know, at the end of the day, when the kids are in bed, have I been the parent that I needed to be? You know, did I say too much or not enough? Did I not listen enough? We start to become hard on ourselves. And that's not good. You know, getting to a place where you can speak to someone, a friend, or whatever that looks like. There's so many apps today. How We Feel is a pretty good app. And there's another app. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I want to say therapist. I could be wrong. But there's so many apps out there today that we can use and utilize whenever we're having one of our days, one of our moments. How We Feel is a very good app. It's a journaling app. And inside the app, it has all this other tools and resources and things that you can use and utilize. I have a few clients who actually use it and they love it. Dig into your resources. There's the crisis line that's out there if you need it. Please, if you find yourself in a situation where life is just like life in, I tell my people every day, Stop trying to handle things alone. If you need me, reach out to me. Now, everything that I do is virtual, but if you need to call me, call me. Just call me. I'm okay with that because I'd rather you be in a situation where you have someone to talk to than not. Reach out. And whatever you do, please, because life gets hard. Gets hard. Don't handle everything alone because you can't do it. Um, these problems that you have in life, we may not have a resolve for everything, and that's okay. If you have 10 things on your plate, what's the one thing that you can handle right now in that moment and let everything else be what it is? In some of my talks before, I've talked about stress and handling different issues and, things of that nature. If there are 10 items on your list, just pick one. Pick the one that you can handle. I tell people, change what you can change, and what you can't change, just leave it. Because you're not going to be able to handle everything. You know, we can simplify a lot in our lives if we just learn how to take things off our plate that really shouldn't be on our plates. What I would say to people, in your little red wagon, there's all your stuff. Should not be anybody else's stuff except for yours. Your stuff in this hula hoop of life. The only thing that you can fit inside of that hula hoop, if you think of a hula hoop, the circle, the hula hoop, you're in it. What else can you fit inside of there? Just you. It's only you. Go buy you a hula hoop. That's your assignment. Go and buy you a hula hoop. You can hula hoop with it if you can do that. I mean, it's exercise, it works. Put yourself inside of it and think about who or what else can I fit in here. Just me and whatever my stuff is. Everything else that's on the outside of that circle, it is what it is. It doesn't matter. But when you're faced with that problem, when that problem is pulling you, dig in. Dig your feet in. Dig your feet in. I want to go back to that example later, but dig your feet in. Stand firm on what you're doing. Dig your feet in. Pull it. Pull the rope. Don't let your problems win. Because when they win and you succumb to that stuff, sometimes it's a little bit hard to get out of that. You feel so defeated and depleted. Don't do it. Dig in. Just dig in. Come up with a plan for yourself that works. I tell people, make some goals for yourself. If there was a dream that you wanted to become a dancer or a writer or actor or whatever, make a vision board of that. You can go out to YouTube, you can Google it, learn how to make a vision board. Make a vision board of that. I made a vision board for my private practice and having a podcast. Now, I don't exactly have a podcast per se, being on a radio station, like that's my goal. That's my dream, being an actress. But I make vision boards. And I have brought those vision boards to life because I'm doing everything that I set out to do, because I pulled the rope. I dug my feet in. Yeah, it pulls me. Trust me. I feel like giving up. I really do. I really do. But I think about what that means for me. How does that affect me as an individual to give up on my dream, to not follow on my journey? I'm pulling the rope. I'm digging in. And you have to dig in too. And look for the meaning. Meaning and purpose is so important. I had a conversation with my clients, with one of my clients, probably a week ago. And we were just talking about life and living. And it's, the question that, that came up, or the statement was like, I don't know what the meaning and purpose is, in this thing anymore. And I'm like, you've got to look beyond the problem and the pain of this thing. What are you wanting to do with this? What are you trying to do with this? What does it mean for you to step up on whatever this podium is, that whatever it represents? What is the meaning and the purpose behind it? You know, you may not be able to see it yet, but you're building it. You may not be able to see the bigger picture, but you're building it. You have this blueprint, foundational, of what you want it to look like. You may not be able to see the finished product, but the more you keep going, the more you keep climbing, the more you, I love that phrase, the more you can dig in, the better it's going to be for you. And you find yourself getting stronger and stronger and stronger. It's kind of like going to the gym and you're lifting this 50-pound weight. It's like, you know what? Just give me a 5-pound. Let it do what it do. But you get the 50-pound weight and you're lifting it and you're lifting it. It's hard. It's excruciating and it is hard. Can't do it. But you keep going. Man, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. But you do it anyway. And you keep going. You keep lifting. And it could be 2 weeks later, you go back to the gym, because you're going every day. You're conditioning your body. It may be less than 2 weeks. But you find that 50-pound weight, like, man, did I just pick this up? Is this 50? Because it feels like a 10-pound. But it's a 50-pound weight. And the reason why it's lighter is because you put your effort into it. You were determined and you kept practicing and you kept going. You kept pushing yourself. You dug your feet into the ground and you said, you know what? No, I cannot let what this is beat me. I got to beat it because I'm determined, because I have a goal in mind. And it feels like that. It feels like that. So finding the meaning and the purpose, because the meaning and the purpose behind the working out is feeling better, looking better. You want to look good in that dress, For men, the muscles that you dreamed of. I don't know. But there's a meaning and a purpose behind what you're doing. And so we have to look for that. It's a slow grind. There are hardships. When we acknowledge what the problem is and we start naming it, it starts to become more bearable. You don't have to be strong. To me personally, and some people may disagree, and I have to watch myself sometimes when I say it. You don't have to be strong, just willing. And I think the strength comes behind that. Because we say be strong all the time. You got to be strong. You got to be strong. But just be willing. And admitting when something is hard, admitting when you can't go on, admitting when this problem is too big, admitting that this trauma is eating you up, this adjusting to this divorce is eating you up, this addiction is eating you up. When you are admitting that here's the problem and it is hard, it is bearing on me, that form of honesty and courage should make you feel like the biggest person ever. Because naming the pain starts to make it more bearable. That's why I always say in trauma, you know, to a lot of my clients who have gone through trauma and they're trying to heal from it, name it. Put a name to it. What is it? What is that thing? What is it? Put a name to it. Because when you start to put a name to it, then you have some sense of control now. It doesn't have control over you. Now you can talk to it. Now you can say to whatever that assault was, you don't define who I am. I define who I am. I'm going to go to therapy because of you. And you know what? I'm going to heal from this. I'm going to heal from you. I'm going to break up with you because I choose not to stay in this victim mentality. I choose not to die on this hill, but I'm going to dig in. I'm going to dig in and I'm going to pull you over this line and I'm going to put you under my foot. Because this is not where it ends. This is where my beginning begins. This is where I start to heal. This is where I start to take life and I get to stare it in the face. And I get to stare the problems in the face. I get to stare my addiction in the face. I get to stare my ex in the face, or the issues of divorce, my marital problems, my, whatever, my job situation, my stresses in life. I get to look all of that in the face, and I get to say, you know what, I'm about to dig into this, because this is not going to defeat me. This is not where I stay. This is not the hill that I choose to die on. This is where I leave you here to fall. You can't come with me. I have to leave you here because there are better things that I have to do. So I'm choosing life, and I'm choosing to live. It's not easy, but I choose it. We get to focus on the things that are important. And understanding too, when it comes to healing, that, accepting that healing is not linear. Some days you'll cope well, some days you won't. But that's okay. I tell people it's okay to not be okay, because it is. Progress and hardship, it looks like waves. It comes in waves. It's not this straight and narrow thing that you just walk. I tell my clients, I'm like, look, you're going to have to go through this tunnel. It's muddy. It's all kind of stuff in here. It's not this, what may be described as a staircase. If you think about a staircase and you're going up, whatever, it's just, it is what it is. But it comes in waves, and that's okay. You challenge yourself in this, because there are going to be days where you're not going to be okay, and it's okay to not be okay. But it's not okay to say that you're okay when you know that things are not okay. We have to have the community of people behind us. Again, I kind of go back to the kids pulling a rope. If I look at the one kid and everybody else behind him as his community. And that's what we have to be. We have to be able to have our community of people, whatever that is. If you have a small community, that's fine. If it's just one person that you can trust, that's okay. As long as you don't get to carry it alone. Because you don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. And with me saying that, we lean on our simple anchors: sleep, breathing, music, prayer, whatever makes us feel good, whatever grounds you. These things don't necessarily, I'll hold out prayer for a minute. Necessarily fix everything, but it's a start to getting better. Now, when it comes to prayer, prayer changes everything. My God fixes everything. And I know he's never empty handed. He's never where he cannot reach you. He's never too far. Prayer changes and it fixes. If you're on a spiritual walk and you're struggling in your faith, get with someone who's more seasoned than you, of course, to help you walk that line. Lean into it. Read your Bible every day. Find that scripture and pray that scripture over you every single day. Because this thing can be a mountain. It very much well can be a mountain, but it doesn't have to be. So, in this digging in, again, plant your feet. Plant your feet. Know where you are in this thing. When you're feeling weary and exhausted, Isaiah 40:29, he gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Dig in. When your heart feels broken, Psalms 34:18, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Dig in. Dig in. When you feel like quitting, Galatians 6:9, dig in. When life feels overwhelming, Psalms 61:2, dig in. When you feel like you've lost hope, Romans 8:28. When you feel abandoned, Deuteronomy 31:8. Oh my God. Dig in. When your strength is gone, 2 Corinthians 12:9-10. Dig in. When you're needing God's presence in your hard time, listen, Psalms 34:17-18. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. Dig in. Strength where you feel weak, Isaiah 41:10. Dig in. Hope and encouragement, Romans 12:12. Dig in. Perseverance in trials, James 1:2-4. Dig in. When you need God to guide you through your storm, Psalms 23:4. Dig in. I'm telling you, start digging in. When those kids were pulling that rope and they pulled, they were digging their feet so far into that ground, like they were determined to not let these men win. These are some tall men. These are some big men. These are some strong men. They were determined. They dug in. You have to dig in. Whatever that means, ground yourself. Arm yourself. Dig in. Dig in. You cannot allow whatever it is that you're going through to dictate how you live, how you eat, how you sleep, how you work, how you play, whatever that looks like. You have got to dig in, and you got to stay locked into God. No matter what happens, no matter what you're going through, if you're struggling in your faith, you have got to stay connected to Him. You have to. Peace, strength. God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. Lord, I can't do this anymore, but you can, because I made you. I made you in my image, and if I can do it, I'm going to give you the strength to do it. You got to dig in. You got to lock in. So when all else fails, when you feel like giving up, dig in. Dig your feet in. My addiction is pulling me. My cravings, they're pulling me. Dig in. I don't know what I'm going to do in this time of my season of divorce. Dig in. Don't give up. Dig in. What am I supposed to do in this place? In this place, in this space? dig in, dig in. Some resources and books that you can utilize, read. They're very good books. They're very helpful. I tell, any suggestions, always research for yourself, but The Mountain is You. It's about facing internal barriers and understanding self sabotage and transforming it into, your greatest source of personal strength and power. It's a really good book. Um, the ABCs of Self Love. I use that book every single day. I really love that book. I love use it for myself, and I have suggested it to my clients as well. But it focuses on building your self esteem, cultivating and nurturing your inner peace, learning how to care for yourself mentally and emotionally. It's a really good book that sets the framework for the self journey of self love and self worth. I, you know, think that anybody would, gain a lot from that book. Um, Atomic Habits. It's by James Clear. Um, is how small, consistent changes can equal up, of course, to be big ones. Over time, having great results. Over time, personal growth and success. It doesn't have to be like this big, huge, dramatic shift, but the tiny changes are they end up being big ones. If you think about Atomic Habits, transformations, what that looks like. I really like that book. Atomic Habits is a great read. It also has a workbook that comes with it. You don't necessarily have to get the workbook. You can get it just, as a companion sake. I love workbooks. So any book that you get, check to see if it has a workbook that comes along with it. If it's a read, see if it has a workbook that comes along with it. A lot of these self-help books are typically, workbook type behaviors, but Atomic Habits is a really good book. So Atomic Habits, The ABCs of Self-Love, and The Mountain is You are really good books. If you're going through a divorce, um, forgiving what you can't forget is, well, and I say divorce. I don't want to encapsulate it as that, specifically, but if you're having a hard time letting something go, I think the lady in that particular book may have been going through a divorce. I could be wrong, and probably the reason why I said that. But Forgiving What You Can't Forget is a really good book. It's about letting go, um, and learning how to heal from your pain, um, and not allowing someone else's actions control you or dictate more or less your life, especially when it comes to your pain and healing. Um, but in it helps you to acknowledge the pain. You're separating the memory, from your power. Um, because again, you know, sometimes we allow that memory to kind of dictate, who we are, because we're so mad, we're so angry, we just, can't get over it, can't get through it. So I wanted to share those resources with you, those books with you, before I left for the evening. I'm hoping that this resonated with you guys today, that, you were able to pull a nugget out of here. But with everything that is going on today, these current events, I mean, it's a lot, and it's a lot to take in, but that's not your focus. Your focus is wrapped up in who God is, and who he wants you to be. That's the main focus, and how he wants you live out your life. What that means for us in the eternal with him. That's our focus. We can't readily focus on the problems of the world today and the things that we go through. Can we have some resolve from these things? We can, you know but when they come up for you, just literally just dig in, plant your feet and dig in. At the end, going back to that example really quick, um, the determination that those kids had, you know, they ended up winning the tug of war. They won. They won. They won because they dug in. They won because they didn't give up. They won because they were determined. They won because there was a meaning and a purpose behind what they were doing. They dug in. Are you digging in? Are you locked in? The goals that you have set for yourself, are you locked in? Are you locked into God? Are you locked into the path, the journey that He has you on? Are you locked into Him? Are you locked in? Are you digging in? Dig in, dig in, just dig in. You got this. You got this. Your ministry. You got this. It's your path, your journey, whatever your destiny is. You got this. Just dig in, lock in. Oh my goodness, lock it in. Lock it in. But show yourself some grace, some self compassion, some self love on the way. But this is you. This is you. This is you. Listen, that's my time. I enjoy this every week. I am locked in. I'm locked in on y'all. I'm locked in on what you got going on. Listen, I want you to go out here, your homework, get your hula hoop, lock in on you, lock in on what you want, do your vision board. You know, what are you digging in on? What are you locking in on? What is it? What is that? Know your meaning and your purpose. I have really enjoyed being here with you guys this evening. Listen, the weekend is coming up. Do something great for yourself. Enjoy yourself. I love you guys. If no one's told you today, you are awesome. You are wonderful. You are courageous. God loves you. I love you. You're the best. Go out here, lock in, dig in, and do your thing. Listen, I'm Sharita. Thank you for joining me here on the couch. Hindsight Media Radio 103.5 FM, where there is always something absolutely good to talk about. Listen, I will be checking in with you guys soon. Deuces.